As you all know, today is the 5th day of our program, and I hope you are gaining maximum benefit out of this program as knowledge empowers you. So, ladies and gentlemen, without taking much time, let me have the honor of inviting another significant character of Central Engineering Consultancy Bureau, the foremost engineering consultancy services provider in Sri Lanka. She is graduated from University of Peradeniya, chartered electrical engineer, and having postgraduate diploma in building services, engineering, and electronics and telecommunication, having more than 26 years of working experience in local and foreign countries, corporate member of IASL, member of Consultant Engineer Sri Lanka, chairman, sectorial committee of Cables, SLSI, member of MEPI Evaluation Committee of CIDA. And she's heading all steered electrical designs and design reviews in almost all the projects consulted by CCB during last 2 decades, including Defense Headquarters Complex project. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Additional General Manager, Electrical Engineer, Mrs. Tharangi Thevaraperuma. Over to you, Ms. Tharangi.
Hi, good evening to all of you. Thank you, Sarasi, for your introduction. I hope I am audible to all of you. Let me share my screen first. So let me do a quick drive through regarding MBE and ICT services provided by Central Engineering Consultancy Bureau. First, I will summarize what we do. We do MBE and ICT. We provide professional services for innovation and retrofit analysis. We do green and renewable energy solutions. We conduct condition audits and energy audits. And our CCB has started for hydro as a consultant for hydro, electrical and mechanical designs and reviews. We are continuing
Seems we lost her connectivity.
Yes, Mr. Nani.
Yeah, no problem. I think it's all around, raining all around. Maybe she must have lost her signal. And Sanjay, what I feel is just ask her to go ahead without the video, like just switching off the video, then she can go ahead without the video. I think that could be better.
Okay, fine, sure.
Mr. Nalin, I'm calling her. I will connect her.
She just joined, and Ms. Tarangi, if your signal is quite weak, I think it's better you switch off your video.
I'm sorry, I got disconnected. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, Ms. Tarangi, your voice is quite, I think, distorted. Maybe poor amount of signals.
Sarasi, can you hear me now?
Yes, Ms. Tarangi, if you can off your...
Sarasi, can you hear me now?
Yes,
Hello.
Ms. Tarangi, we can hear you.
Yes, it is heavily raining here. It is heavily raining here.
Yeah.
So
Madam-
my connection is on.
Madam, your
Can you
audio
hear now?
distorted. Madam, your audio getting distorted time to time. We recommend that if you could switch off the video and go ahead.
Sarasi, I got disconnected. Can you hear me now?
Yes, Ms. Tarangi, we can hear you. Can you please switch off the video and
Sarasi, can you hear me now?
yes, Ms. Tarangi, we can hear you.
Yes, video. Shall I switch it off?
Yes. Yes, please switch off your video and you can continue, Ms. Tarangi. We can hear you.
Shall I switch off my video?
Yes, please, Ms. Tarangi, yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes. Well,
Yes. Shall I continue?
yes, Ms. Tarangi, you can continue now.
Shall I continue? Sarasi, can I continue? Yes, I'm sorry. It is heavily raining. Because of that, my connections, all my connections are getting distorted. So I was briefing what we are doing as under MAP and ICT. So we engage with feasibility studies and we do contract management, MAPI contracts, and we involve testing and commissioning. So if I tell you our strength, our biggest strength is we have full-time qualified graduate engineers, engineering assistants, and we have
Sarasi, I think we have lost her again. So shall we continue with the program?
Yes, sir. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, apologizing for the technical issues we are having. Okay, so let's start the program. Let me have the honor of inviting our course moderator today, chartered engineer, director CCB and CSL, engineer Nalindi Silva. Dear sir, over to you.
Thank you, Sarasi. Thank you very much. And very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. And highly apologize for the technical difficulties. I'm sure that it's all raining around the country. So she must be having a lot of difficulties in terms of signals and maybe the power cut as well. What she wanted to highlight as Tarangi is the AGM of M&E division, mechanical and electrical division of CECB. And CECB has been in the field for a longer time, and the major projects, including defense headquarters and many of the projects all around the country, and even some projects overseas, CCB has engaged in specialized in many areas, mechanical and electrical, including plumbing. So that's what she wanted to highlight. Apart from the name suggested, it's just you feel that CECB is an entity of civil engineering construction, but the area of mechanical, electrical, and IT in the sense of ELV, extra low voltage systems. Also, CECB have the same capacity pretty much compared with the international consultancy institutions. So that's what she wanted to highlight. So thank you very much for listening and be patient enough to continue with us. Ladies and gentlemen, today is our 5th consecutive Sunday evening. We are meeting for the CPD program conducted by CECP and CESL training unit with the contribution from experts, I should say, not only just theoretical experts, those who are in the industry for a longer time, specialized in Middle Eastern aspects, and a lot of contributors and the resource personnel. Today even we meet, and the people who have met already, and even the resource personnel line up for the future days are Please mute. Yeah. Right. Okay, so yes, we have a lot of humps and bumps here and there because once you start with difficulties, but still they have to go ahead, and we have over 600 participants, as well as if you have any difficulties, we always recommend to use this YouTube streaming as well, so you can watch at any time, and you can invite your friends and share with your friends, because this is all about knowledge sharing, and these resource personnel are join with us with their spending their time, especially on a Sunday evening, and with the different time zones as well. So their contribution and their commitment has to be highly appreciated. At the same time, we have to make sure that we are getting the best out of it. Ladies and gentlemen, moving to today's session, before moving to the session, I would like to highlight a certain ground rules which we used to practice for last 5 sessions, and in fact, today's session, chat box, we are not using much of the chat box. It is being disabled for general participants, and chat box can be accessible at the time of Q&A session, generally just after the main session. And your attendance can be marked with the link shared in chat box or in the YouTube streaming. It's a Google form where you have to fill. It comes generally after the main session, just before the Q&A session. And if you feel, or if you couldn't mark your attendance and due to a technical difficulty or signal failure or power cuts, still you can keep at least minimum of 3 screenshots with a time difference of 30 minutes, so that you can prove when and where it is required and demanded by when the time of the certificates being released. With that remark, ladies and gentlemen, let's move into the session today. And today is about cost planning and compilation of BOQ, it's all about. But what I want to highlight is within one day or single session, you may not be able to understand everything. But today, Engineer Eranga Vithanage will be giving you some insights. At the same time, we'll guide you where we have to put our focus mostly. At the same time, where we have to put our strength to the best level, and what are the areas which we have to be very careful, especially when it comes to the Middle Eastern context. This young boy, Engineer Eranga Vithanage, I met him 21 years ago. At that time, he was a young boy. And we together were the batchmates, and that relationship for last 2 decades, I should say, pretty much equivalent to the experience of Engineer Tarangi supposed to be, had been stronger and stronger for many reasons, because especially the charming character, at the same time, the selfless attitudes of Engineer Eranga Vithanage. And he has never let us down when we require any help, especially the people who wants to groom yourself, maybe professionally or personally. He never let you down, and he will definitely give his hand strongly to help you out. With that remark, ladies and gentlemen, Engineer Eranga Vithanage graduated from University of Peradeniya from his basic degree from mechanical engineering from University of Peradeniya, and now settled in Middle East, especially in Dubai for a longer time. And he's a strong personality when it comes to project planning, cost planning, and the compilation of bill of quantities, because he works for a company called Ominum Internationals. Previously, it was known as DJ Jones Consultancies, and now it has been a global institute, and where he plays a major role. Ladies and gentlemen, without wasting much of the time, let's move into the session. I would like to invite Engineer Eranga Vithanage with my humble thanking note at the beginning itself, spending time with us. Engineer, Iranga Vitanage, it's over to you. Iranga.
Thank you so much for lovely introduction, Engineer Nalin. I hope everybody can audible me.
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay. So, you all are welcome for the today's session. I hope up to fourth lesson which happened previously, you collected many more information or many more detail about the Middle Eastern country contract administration, QS and planning, etc. So today I'm going to enhance you about estimation and cost planning, even about compilation of bidding documents up to the first tender release happening in the contract phase, pre-construction phase. Without taking much time, let's move to the today's content. Today's content, and I'm going to talk about what is basically the cost planning, terminologies, type of cost plans and cost planning phases, and homework required for cost planning. While I'm being in the presentation, you will get to know that what these individual topics mean. Tools, cost planning procedure, cost element in a cost plan, cost element in cost plan, and challenges. While you are doing a cost plan, what challenges that we have to face, and content of a cost plan report. This, I think the previous sessions also, these presenters discuss about presenting something that also will have a significant importance. And the last but not least, complication of bidding document. During the initial discussion with Engineer Nalin, I was advised to explain some in Sinhala language also. I'm sorry, I don't know about Tamil, but no issues. If you have any concern, you ask. I mean, I will explain in some significant point in Sinhala for you to get a better understanding. Let's move to the presentation. Actually, what is cost planning? Like, if you can see, there's no proper definition, but it is a way of controlling the estimated cost during a different design phase of project. So, upcoming slide, I will talk about what are these different phases. You might have been through these present phases, but I just summarize them for your knowledge. So, theoretically, we are talking about methods of cost planning. And if you try to read through the internet, there are many methods they talk about. I listed here, however, I'm going to talk, I'm going to explain, I'm going to provide you the knowledge about basically the superficial area method. Other methods we are using not in full, sometimes to validate our cost plan, or sometimes to justify our cost plan. In piece and bits, we use other method. If you want to get some understanding, you can read through. But today we are going to talk about superficial area method. Before we started, or like before we go into the very detail, I listed here some terminologies. Of course, some of them are, I would say, definitions. Some of them are terminologies. So if you are working in quantity surveying field, you might have heard those things. But basically in the post-contract or construction phase, at site, you might not hear this type of terminologies. The first terminology is called GEA. This is all about areas, because if you can recall, the cost planning method that we are going to talk today is superficial area method. So GEA means gross external area. It's actually a defined term. There's a definition. I have given the reference where this definition was given. It is RICS Code of Measuring Methods. RICS stand for Royal Institute of Chartered Surveyors. This is the well-recognized professional body who handling, controlling, and educating all quantity surveyors throughout the world. Other term is called GIA or GIFA, gross internal flow area, or called gross internal area. We call it GIFA or GIA. That is also defined term as per the RICS. So if you can download this code of practice, measurement practice, so you can get to know that it is not very easy to explain within 2-3 lines. It has many rules, so better you to go through it and understand. The other terminology is called BUA. Actually, this terminology is not defined. I'm sorry, Naling, am I audible? Is there an issue?
No. Please go ahead, brother.
Okay, sure. Thank you. A built-up area. Actually, this is not a defined term. It differs from client to client. So whenever we have been contracted for any cost plan or any task, usually individual clients sharing their definition for built-up area. So in general, it is gross external area. We have to exclude or omit the sharps and voids. And there's another terminology called GFA, gross flow area. So they are also, usually it's not a defined term, it's a terminology that we usually get the definition from client to client. Even though you are in Sri Lanka, you might have heard top class developer in UAE, Ima, Nakil, Alda, Miraz. So whenever they are starting any project, so they have their own definition, which will share with their consultant design team, which we follow usually. Another one is called sellable area. We call it SA. This all actually the area defined or terminologies for the building works. So cost planning is not only about building works cost plans. So we are doing the cost plan for infrastructures. So infrastructure cost planning, usually we found few of terminology called GLA, gross land area. Sometimes we call it development area, site area, or completed project area. Other one is called ROW, right of way. That is actually the road length. So while I'm going ahead in the presentation, you will find this term. That's why I put as a terminologies. RFQ, of course, you might have heard already, request for quotation, and NDA, non-disclosure agreement. So these are the main terminologies. Like there are many other, but I just wanted to highlight these few, which I'm going to discuss in future slides. Well, now I'm going to tell you what are the type of cost plan we usually prepare. So if you can see here, I listed 4 major cost plan types that we are making in Dubai. Building works cost plan, and I have given an example for you to understand what we mean by building works. Another one is infrastructure cost plans, roads and utilities basically. Those are the example which we are talking about as infrastructure cost plans. And another cost plan we are doing in Dubai, basically a utility building cost plan. It is quite different, not quite completely different from usual building, like if high-rise residential building or shopping mall or whatever. It is like power plant, substation, pump station, and district cooling plant. And there are another type of cost plan we are talking about as a master plan cost plan. So basically the Gulf region, UAE, now this trend is almost spread through the KSA as well, to develop master plans, which include the buildings, which includes the roads, utilities, maybe metro lines. So it's a master community development. So actually master plan cost plan includes this all. So whenever you are doing master plan cost plan, it includes building, it includes infrastructure and utility billing as well. So these are the main type of cost plan we are preparing for the build during this pre-contract period. Well, then I'm going to talk about phases. Hope you can recall the cost plan, what the cost planning is. It is all about controlling the cost in different project phases. I'm sure that you also will get to know that these levels in UAE, basically, we are getting building cost designs in these stages: pre-concept, or sometimes we call it budget, and concept design, schematic design, detailed design, and tender design. For the infrastructure work, concept design, we call it CMP usually, concept master plan, preliminary design, PMP, preliminary master plan, DMP, detailed master plan. So these are the design documentation release stages. Of course, we are aligned with the design stages. So we are asked to prepare the cost plan, sometimes not in this all phases, but sometimes yes. So in some cases, some client skip the concept design as a design. They review that as a design documentation, but QS is not called for cost plan, and he will go straight away to the schematic design. So, but these are the cost planning phases. In some development, yes, we are asked to prepare all 5 cost plan for one building. I'm sure, Nalina, am I fast?
I feel it's a good speed. Please go ahead.
All right, that's nice. Well, this is now we came to a quite very important point in the cost planning. I call it as a homework, which means if you are asked to prepare cost plan now, if you have not done any homework, if you don't have this data with your hand, you can't do it. So it is kind of a recurring work or repetitive work. Whenever you want to do a cost plan, you should have this homework ready with you to prepare the cost plan. The first very important item is benchmarks. So of course, since we are using superficial method and the initial design stages, as I mentioned you, pre-concept, concept, you will not have any design for the buildings or design for your project. It's just a report, 10-20 pages. So, but still you have to give the cost. Now we cannot say to client, no, this is not enough for us to prepare the cost plan. So that is your experience. That is your homework. That is your pre-work for the cost plan. So if you see that tree graph, I'm not sure it is visible through this presentation, but I will share this presentation at the end of the day with the training unit, and it will be shared to you. So you can go through with this graph a little bit, making zoom in. So this basically what we said. Now, in our benchmarking time, we have this all project is benchmark. That means in simple wording, for the whole project, we know that construction cost, how much cost per meter squared GFA. So I hope you can remember, I already talked about GFA. So whenever you have a new design, so we basically carry out the area measurement. We will have the GFA in our hand. So straight away we can give us the cost. So we have the area into the cost per meter squared. So you will get to know the total cost. But even though I said in that much simple, no, we are not allowed to do a cost plan within 5-10 minutes like that. So this is I said as it is overall. In the next graph, it is actually a elemental benchmark. So if you can see that down, individual sub-element in a building, it will be divided, and we have the benchmark for individual system. So I will talk about this individual sub-element in future slides. How we know in this particular project A, how much substructure cost per meter square, how much FF&E is, how much cost per meter square, superstructure how much, MEP how much. So this is another second level benchmark. So like that, you can decide up to which level you have to have the benchmark. In the third graph, it is showing infrastructure benchmark. So actually in this particular project, I did not have the data for the second level benchmark. This is first level benchmark, project A. So I think I'm not sure whether it is visible, this terminologies. Actually, we use GLA, Pro, and GFA. So in the particular project A, how much the first graph said the cost GLA information, second one is Rho, and third one is GFA. So like this, we will have this in the graph level as well as in the data numbers. So this is one very good information, or like required information for cost plan.
Iranga?
Oh,
yeah. If I'm to disturb you a little bit, these plots, so these graphs are prepared through Excel formats, or is there any software to be used for particular applications?
Well, good question, Nalin. Actually, first two, we prepared the benchmark basing, using the Excel. And third graph, actually, it's by Power BI. But Excel is more sophisticated to prepare this whole benchmarking graph, and these two actually based on the Microsoft Excel.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. So the second important data that you should have in your hand is rate database. Of course, this is actually nothing else from the rates from recent tender returns, because as far as we know, recent tender returns the fresh price as per the current market rate or current market condition. So of course, whenever we use rate database or we prepare database, we maintain this type of data. There's no hard and fast rule or fast format. This is format we prepared for ourselves. For example, concrete. Then we log all the information, what type of development and what quarter of the year, the project name, because in 2021, this is villa project, and second quarter of 2021, this is the rate, fourth quarter of 2021, this is the rate, and 22 is this is the rate. So once we receive the design documentation, we go through the design documentation and check what is the appropriate benchmark for this, or appropriate rate for this. It should not be the recent tender returns. From this type of rate database, you will understand the rates or current market price changes pattern. So we have that forecasting facility with this type of data, so we can pick the relevant rate for a cost plan. Of course, the third item is suppliers and vendors list. Yes, even though we use the first two items for cost planning, this part is also very important. Why? There are some system in the project which should not benchmark from previous project. Very good example is lighting. As far as you know, lighting is an industry that changing very frequently. For the same light fittings, if you get a price yesterday, it's different today. Many reasons due to the competitiveness and due to the material escalation and everything. So always this type of systems, we used to go for market and collect the price, which we usually never benchmark. And that is the trend. So some system like AV system, we call audio visual, especially the LED screen, that is also another fast changing section. So that also we usually go and take the market price. So the last item is the market researches, publications, bulletins. So in Gulf region, usually there are many bulletins, publication which they overall forecast the construction industry. So what will happen in next 6 months? What will happen in the next end of the next year? So those type of bulletins will help us in general to understand how impact to the cost in future. Like for example, concrete, steel, copper. So we know that these are the important raw materials in the construction. So we should take these into consideration. Of course, there are many bulletins which sometimes will not give a proper information. But yes, there are some bulletins like this one is issued for KSA construction industry, sorry. This type of information also should be gathered for us to forecast future costs, because project timeline is usually advise us in the beginning of the project. So we know that when this project will be tendered, when this project will be goes into the construction phase. So in that time, even we are doing the cost plan in the concept design stage, but it will be come after 6 months. So we have to take those into consideration. Mama chuttak Sinhaleng explain karannan so far what we discussed. Mokada cost plan එකේ අපි දැන් cost plan එක පටන් ගන්න කලින් අපිට මොනවද ඊට කලින් ඕන වෙලා තිබ්බ කියපු කාරණා ටික ගැන කතා කරපු නිසා මොනවද elements කියන එක terminologies කියන කාරණේ ඒක defined terms ඔයාලට හම්බෙනකොට පාවිච්චි කරලා ඒ කියන්නේ ඒකට හම්බෙනකොට අපි ඒක තේරුම් ගත්තාම හරි cost planning stages පිළිබඳ ප්‍රශ්නයක් නැහැ. අපි දන්නවා ඔයාලට ඇහිලා ඇති මේ වගේ pre concept, concept, budget level කියන ඒවා. ඒතකොට cost plan එක කරන්න කලින් අපිට මෙන්න මේ කැටගරි හතර ඉතාම වැදගත්. benchmarks ඒක අර ඉංජිනේර නලින් අහුවා වගේ අපි පරණ project නැත්නම් අපි ඊට කලින් tender කරපු project වල information අරගෙන අපි එක benchmark කරගන්නවා. ඉතින් ඒක ටිකක් වෙන process එකක්. දැන් මෙතනදී පොඩ්ඩක් discuss කරන්න අමාරුයි. ඒ කියන්නේ ඒක වෙනම benchmarking වල අපි පාවිච්චි කරන වෙනම strategies තියෙනවා. ඒක මම වෙනම ඕනනම් කියලා දෙන්න පුළුවන් වෙන වෙලාවක මේ time එක මදි නිසා. ඊළඟට rate database එකක් maintain කරගන්න ඕනේ. හොඳ rate database එකක් අර මම පෙන්නපු විදිහට detail ඔක්කොම ටික එකේ include වෙන්න. එතකොට supplier contact list එකක් අපිට අනිවාර්යෙන් අවශ්‍යයි. මොන suppliers ලාද frequently අපිට respond කරන්නේ, නැත්නම් particular product එකකට කවුද අපිට report කරන්නේ. අනේ information නිසා අපිට supplier main list එකක් අනිවාර්යෙන් maintain කරගන්න ඕනේ. දැන් මම පෙන්නපු list එකේ පේන්න ඇති අපි UAE වල විතරක් නෙමෙයි දැන් ගොඩක් cost planning අපි KSA cost planning අපි කරනවා දුබායි ඉඳලා කරන්නේ. එතකොට අපිට දුබායි market එකෙන් quotation අරන් බෑ. අපි යන්න ඕනේ KSA market එකට. අපිට සමහර ලාවට KSA market එකට බඩු මේ item supply කරන කට්ටිය ඉන්නවා දුබායි ඉඳලා. එතකොට එයාලා වුණත් contact කරගන්න පුළුවන් අපිට. අන්න ඒක වගේ වැදගත්. ඊළඟට මම මේ කතා කරපු මේ publications අන්න ඒවා ඉතාම වැදගත්. ඒ කියන්නේ ඒකෙනුත් අපිට තොරතුරක් ගන්න පුළුවන් overall. දැන් කොන්ක්‍රීට් වගේ එකක් project එක driving cost drive එකක්. copper ගොඩක් cost drive එකක්. මොකද cables තියෙනවා. දැන් pipes වලට නම් copper use කරන්නේ නැහැ. ඒ කියන්නේ bus bar cables ගත්තාම project එකේ ලොකු cost එකක් තියෙන තැන. අන්න ඒ වගේ නිසා අපිට ඒකත් ඉතාම වැදගත්. ඒ කියන්නේ අර industry එකේ changes ගැන අපි ගොඩක් volatile වෙන්න ඕනේ. අපි ගොඩක් vigilant වෙන්න ඕනේ. Let's move to our next slide. Next, I'm going to talk about what are the tools that we require for the cost planning. Well, we need a good measurement software. When this is, I think you might have heard, some of you are practicing even the software called Costex. Now, in UAE region or even MENA region, this software playing a good role. So if you are practicing, you try to improve it, or if you are not practicing, try to find out some sources. Don't spend a lot of money, but this will be really helpful software that we are mainly using for pre-construction. But now our company, we are trying to, what is the importance of this Costex? It is all live. Like if you use AutoCAD to measure something, you will measure it and you don't have record. It will be recorded on a paper and it will not, it is very difficult to carry out further. But in Costex, all live. If I tell a little bit about Costex, you have the measurement facility as well as costing facility. And even you can use any type of format in the drawings or PDF, DWF, or AutoCAD, sketches, whatever. So you can measure from this software, and even 2D, 3D. If you're using Revit model, yes, you can extract the quantity through this Costex. It's really useful software. And the very important part is the costing part. There is more flexibility, measurement live, even rates live. Even we are maintaining a rate database here based on the Costex. It is really a worth software. If you can try to learn, you will have a better value in the Gulf, especially UAE, KSA, Oman, or anywhere. So this we should have to have the cost planning in hand. I'm not telling Costex is the only one that we can do the measurement, but since in my organization, Omnium International, we are using this software is completely for cost planning. And now recently management has decided to move them into the post-contract with the old pre-contract detail. So whenever they want any information, what they have done during the cost planning, so they can check it. So that is so live. And other tools I have, I'm sorry, I have listed here. New rules of measurement, NRM1. I have given the pictures side. You can get, I'm not sure whether it is available in internet. If somebody need it, I can give. Other one is Civil Engineering Standard Method of Measurement, SESAM 4. Other one is Principle of Measurement International for me, and Microsoft Office, vastly Excel and Word. So these are the tools that might vastly required during your cost planning and presenting it. You might have, you might think in what I can do with the Microsoft Office. Yes, Excel is required in some, in vastly, as well as Word. So now I will move to the very important part of the presentation. So how you will do the cost planning. So I call it as cost planning procedure, which I brief the steps. Maybe I'm not telling you how to do a full cost plan. I keep you for you to learn yourself. And if you have any doubt, anytime, I have given my WhatsApp email information. You can WhatsApp me, and I might not be able to answer in the same time, but of course I will answer through your training division CCBC cell. So the first one, once we got any design documentation to our hand to start any level of cost plan, we have a design review. Means as a QS, a quantity surveyor, or a cost planning manager, we should check the completeness of the design documentation to commence the cost planning in that particular level. So of course we are maintaining a checklist, and once all information are complete enough for us to start the cost plan, yeah, we started it. Otherwise, if you can see the second item, we are going for query sheet. What query sheet basically, we are clarifying, or we are requesting the information that we have not received in that particular point, or we are clarifying the discrepancy between the design documentation. So this is, I gave you a simple sample, but currently our organization is maintaining. It is not hard and fast format, but still you can use it as a sample, or you can put whatever the information that you are looking for in this query sheet format. So, as an example, in a schematic design, usually design document should contain the we call it equipment schedule for the MEP systems. In some consultant, they don't issue a equipment schedule during the schematic design documentation within that pack. So as a thumb rule, it should, not as a thumb rule, as a standard practice, any consultant used to issue us the equipment schedule with the capacity. So in such a case, we quickly raise that in the query sheet. So not only in the beginning, while you are doing the cost planning, especially the measurement time, you should, we should raise queries and clarify all discrepancies or lack of information we have to request. Because for engineers level, that he might think, or designer level, he might think, okay, this is my design document, schematic design. But for us, it is not. So the third item is pricing inquiry or RFQs. So as I explained in previous slide, any stage, we usually go out to the market. We call it market testing or pricing inquiry, which we need to get the fresh price for some systems. Like sometimes we will not ask for the concrete, but of course we will ask the quotation, or we will request a quotation for lighting or for AV system. Because as I said, those are specialists. Sometimes it is not similar to other project. It is unique. So that is another very important step or a very important task during this cost planning. Well, then we have to, of course, at the same time, a team of in the cost planning team, once we assign resources, so one should start the area measurement. As I said, now since we are using superficial method, this area of a project plays very important role. So we have to start the measurement, and we are usually preparing a document called schedule of area, or called SOA. So this is one format which we are using currently in our organization. As per our benchmark, according to our benchmark, we are doing all measurement, all area measurement as we require. We need, if you need the GIFA or GIFA or called GIA, yes, we have to measure it. If you wanted to measure BUA as per their definition, yes, we measure it. And GFA, yes, we are, after we measuring different areas, so we work out for the built up areas and like BUA or GFA. This is very important, and we have to understand as per the definition how to measure this, and we prepare this type of a schedule of area to go ahead with the cost planning. Of course, in next item is elemental or trades or system measurement. Of course, it depends again. It depends as per the level of design information. Like what is the level of the cost plan. In the pre-concept, we will not get a single drawing about system like MEP. It will be a few pages of report. But of course, they will issue some floor plates and some structural detail. So that time, civil team usually measure those things to price, but still you can use in full benchmark as well in that stage. Depends on the design stage, we usually carry out the measurement for systems or trades, individual trades, civil, architectural, MEP, conveying, and etc. Well, then now these are the steps that we are following, and then we are going for the cost plan, prepare the cost plan level. So once we ready with query response and all design document ready, okay, we floated the, or we sent out the RFQ and we did the area measurement. So we have to prepare our cost plan. So for the cost plan preparation, we are using NRM1 for the building cost plans. So if you had a chance, you referred a little bit NRM1, we call it elemental breakdown, which we have these elements. The building is elementalized to sub-element for us to estimate the cost in the respective element. So we call it facilitating work. Some people used to call it enabling work, substructure, superstructure, internal finishes, fitting, furnishing, and equipment, call it FF&E. Services, we usually not call this as MEP, which includes sanitary wares, MEP, and conveying. These other two items usually we are not using, and external work. The next one is actually infrastructure work. So we usually follow the SESAM 4. So these are the sub-element that usually are following: ground investigation, demolition, and site investigation. Because in an infrastructure project, always, it's not like a building project, there is always demolition and site investigation, clearance, because it is site, it's a land. So earthwork, structural metal work, roads and pavings, bridge work, and utilities. Utilities, basically we divided into two, cold wet utilities and dry utilities. I have listed out what we considered as wet and dry. These are the elements that you are using in the infrastructure work cost plan. I have put here 3 steps that we are following in the building cost plan for you to understand. As I said, mentioned in the beginning of the presentation, it is not easy to explain or give an idea about how to prepare a full cost plan, but I'm giving you a unit or idea how to do it. So this it will be a collection of this type of cost. So in the concept design, as I said, for the superstructure, for example, frames, we will not get a single drawing to measure it, of course. So how our cost planning will be done at concept design. You can see the description: allowance for concrete frame, cost per meter squared based on the benchmark project. So we measure the this 397 is in this particular project is GFA, and it is of course the area. So benchmark we have for this type of project or this similar nature of project this much. So then the frame cost is decided or like estimated. So this is what usually happen in the concept design. When you move into the schematic design for the same project, I got this example actually. You can see that it was measured in the schematic design level. We might have provided with the drawing for us to measure columns and beams for the concrete, rebar, and formwork. So we measured it. If you can see the quantity, it is measured quantity. Of course, this is the place where rates database will come into the picture. So we should have this cost data, how much concrete for this particular type for this project or rebar ratio, and then we can price superstructure based on the measured work plus our rate database. So I get the example for the same item. So if I move to the next design stage, we call it detail design. You can see the same item, we completely measure it. So we will have a better breakdown, rather concrete and or rather formwork. It is segregated properly and it's measured in full. So this is how we are pricing individual element by element. So whenever you refer the NRM, you will get to know that how this building is elementalized to a ECS component. Like MEP, for example, as I said, services, it calls services. It is not like MEP, services. Then, for example, air conditioning. Then it will go to the cooling, or it will explain the ventilation. And then it will go to the, it will have a breakdown of equipment separate, distribution separate, or like ductwork separate, this type. So I suggest you to have a look in NRM to understand how this building is elementalized. Another very, very important aspect in cost planning is value engineering. I hope in the previous presentation, CPD, it was explained what value engineering means. I'm not going to repeat it again. You know what it means. Even the same presentation, the presenter said, this will be mostly discussed in the pre-contract stage. Yes. So where this value engineering will come into the picture, to reduce the cost. Why we reduce the cost? Whenever a client fix the budget, he will fix the budget based on some parameters or some previous data. Might be that his current design is not same as it is. So that time, of course, we call it over the budget. So once we prepare the cost plan, the current cost plan level, let's say schematic design, is let's say 20 million above the budget. So that time we are asked to do a value engineering. Of course, this will be initiated by a designer because he is the designer. Of course, we are not keep quiet or decide, okay, it is your headache and you take care. No, we help because as a quantity surveyor, as a cost consultant, from with our previous experience, we know that what are the areas that project cost has increased, or still in which area he can save the cost. For example, sanitary he might have, a designer might have specified Toto, but Toto is, as far as all you know, it's expensive. But there are more products or more range other than Toto to get the same quality, same durability. So we used to propose that time. But in that particular presentation, as he mentioned, it is always by the design. So even client used to propose some value engineering. So we will list it. It is QS duty to prepare a VE register. So I have given a small sample that we are currently using. So once you get the presentation, you might have zoom in and see what this all columns it says. So we will use to list it all ideas, and we will brainstorming or filtering or checking the feasibilities. You can see that 3 categories: open, accepted, rejected. So we will put all ideas here, and then we will have many meetings, many discussion to filter out the more suitable value engineering. As I said, even as a quantity surveyor, cost consultant, we used to give our opinion as well. So after getting this all into one information, so we will pick, or not actually by cost consultant, by client will ultimately say, yes, this is acceptable to me. So we used to this value engineering process to take the project into the budget. Sometimes it is not value engineering. We, even though put into our that category, will be a de-scoping. So, but still it is under value engineering. As the definition said, we have to maintain same functionality with the less cost. So this plays very important role in every cost planning stage. So there are some more ideas, more areas that we have to take care during the Middle Eastern construction industry is concerned. So very important area is the authority and service provider estimates. So I'm not sure how in Sri Lankan context it will be applicable. If you can see, I have listed few authorities and service providers. Basically, authorities, government bodies, service providers is private sectors. Still, they are in the picture, like DCD, Dubai Civil Defense, Dubai Municipality, Dubai Electricity Water Authority. Those are the government entities who is coming to the picture during the project. So they have their own cost. Sometimes it will be directly deal with the client. Not actually, it is always dealing with the client, but sometimes some client ask us to put a cost for this authority fees. We could call authority fees, authority charges. This do etisalat means similar to our telecom providers, Sri Lanka Telecom. Empower, Emicool, Tabrid is district cooling chill water providers. Luta Gas is central gas providers. Those entities called service provider. They also will have their own fees, which will be applicable to project. In some instances, some client ask us to include the authority service provider charges. In some cases, we are not including, but we should aware about such a cost heading is there. So, yes.
Yeah, is this you are referring the connectivity charges? Is it the service providers charges, or is there any additional services provided by them apart from the charges, apart from the connectivity? For example, say electricity or water connectivity. In Sri Lanka also we have water board connectivity charges. Is there
well, Nalit, there is two costs actually. One is connectivity charges. We call it hard cost. Hard cost in the sense, whenever DIVA, for example, like electricity board, they will provide the power to a certain development. There's a hard cost. They have to lay the cables, they have to put the trenches, and those costs will come as a service charge. But for the usage, yes, during the operation, that is again has to pay for the consumption. And there's another cost heading that I call hard cost. Other one is soft cost. Soft cost in the sense for the whole submission, document reviewing, because there are many submission has to be done for these authorities during the design stages. For these document reviews and give the approval, we call it NOC, no objection certificate. So there is another fee called soft cost. So in some client, sometimes advise us include this all cost. So sometimes they said hard cost. Sometimes they said don't include any authorities charges service provider. So it will take care by us. So it's something like that. So another important point is we have to take care about key cost drivers or key traders, we call it. So in the Middle Eastern countries, the rising demand or like popular subject is the facade. If you can see the pictures from UAE or maybe in KSA, those buildings are very nice. By looking outside, they will get a good demand for the building. That means facade will play a good role there. And lighting, audio visuals, and landscape part. Those are unique or quite high demanding areas for them to include or do a good design to sold out this product. So it will be unique from building to building. So we have to take care of those things, as I said, maybe with the market testing or with the recent price. And then other one is sustainability consideration and smart city consideration. You know that this rising trend is, we are talking about sustainability. So that is also another very important area while you are doing the cost plan. This is the cost plan element in the cost plan. I mean, cost heading, cost element. Of course, hard cost I discussed about in previous lessons. And these general requirements, project design fees, and there are many project stakeholders in the project. So client contingency, because client might have something in his mind to add in the project in some point. So he advises us, okay, allow this much contingency for us. The design consultancy, of course, during the design improvement, we will not pick up everything in every stage. So we will keep some design contingency. Other development project cost means in any development, sometimes you have to pay for the land purchase. This type of cost also some client ask us to include. I explain authority charges, service provider fee, inflation, and especially suppliers contractors work. That is like in Dubai, usually the fire alarm for the villa type of complex, it is a wireless system. Now we call it by Hasanta. That also will come separate, not by the contractor, it's by a specialist contractor. So that cost also we have to. Otherwise, other one we call it as a below the line item. Below the line item means these systems client has in his mind whether to put or not to put in the project. So, but still he want to see the cost. So we include that item also, like photovoltaic system, PV, we call it solar actually. Correct terminology is photovoltaic anyway. And the LED screens. That was also very hugely changing area. So those are the element in a cost plan, cost heading, I would say. The challenges. So there are, as I said in the beginning, it is not easy. By 5 days, we cannot finish a cost plan due to this type of challenges. So what are those challenges? Delaying and no response to queries. Even though we send 10 queries, we will not get a single answer. So we are in trouble to clarify the dispute, ambiguities. And denying to enter the NDA. The suppliers, sometimes they are not entered to NDA because some suppliers, in some projects, due to the confidentiality, we issue non-disclose agreement for them not to disclose the project detail. But some suppliers refuse it. They said, no, disclose is not acceptable to us, then they will not enter to the NDA. And maintain the confidentiality of project detail. Whenever we go to the market, suppliers need all information about the project. Since project is not, I would say, published or not, it's not go for market, we are not authorized to disclose the project detail, client detail, the location of the project, type of the project, no. So it is difficult to get the price from market. Suppliers not returning with the quotation. Whenever there's a 30 million, 40 million lighting package, we will not get the price. And again, it's a challenge. Accuracy of design information. So most of the project in Middle Eastern country, or like especially in UAE, we are getting 2D as well as 3D drawing called Revit models. But those accuracy in the quality of the 3D models is not enough for us to do the measurement. Like if you think about 2D measurement versus to 3D measurement, 3D measurement is really fast because it's kind of an extraction, not manual measurement. So, but if it is not quality enough for us to extract the quantity, again, challenge. Like for especially MEP, up to date, I did not find a proper 3D model to extract the quantities. So the last one is actually unavailability of authority charges, service providers, fees. So even though client asks us to include, it is not readily available. It is not open to everyone to get that information. Fortunately, DEWA, Dubai Electricity Water Authority, they maintain online calculator for their service charges. So whenever you want to get the service charge, you can go to the online calculator and get it. But for others, no. Due to this type of challenge, we are struggling or we are facing problems to finalize the cost plan with the higher accuracy. This is another very important point, content of a cost plan report. So even though I discussed many things in earlier slides, so it is very important to present this in a attractable and with good detail. So whenever this cost plan is received by client or put on his table, in front of his table, it should be very easy for him to understand, cross-check, and so these for him to get a better understanding or clear direction, we prepare the cost plan, and I just highlighted here few important subheadings or section that you should include in the cost plan. Quality control, quality assurance. Basically, cost planning is, of course, every work is a teamwork. But whenever we did as a ground level team, it is going to up to director level to check the feasibility of the cost plan. So for that, there are many QA/QC processes happening. So for any work, this should be there. Proofreading, check the quality of everything. Otherwise, there will be a incorrect document will go out to the other parties. It is not good for the organization. So we are doing the QA/QC. We maintain that sheet. An executive summary dashboard will show one picture about the whole project, which you visually include the cost and the specification, benchmarking, and value engineering, and all the things. So dashboard means summarized information. Benchmarking section, very important. So what benchmarking section in one of project in KSA, we provide this benchmark. So one client asked, like it's a hotel project. So when we finish our cost plan for his hotel, it is about 12,000 cost per meter square. Then there's a similar type of hotel in Dubai. It is 10,000, 11,000 somewhere AD cost per meter square. Then client's question. So Dubai, you can construct this much. Why you KSA this much? So that is how client read our report. So we explain him what is the difference between Dubai hotel and your hotel. So this benchmarking section is very important in the report. And basis and qualification. So in the pricing, you cannot include all your assumption. Of course, assumption and all detail references you have to include in the basis and qualification section. Other one is summary of cost, means we have to provide a summary cost based on individual trades. As I explained before, you might have remember hard cost separate, general requirement and contingency and everything we have to give in the summary of cost. The third item is actually breakdown of cost, which is again very important. I hope you can remember the cost planning section, what I showed in the concept, schematic and detail. This is a part of a BOC, breakdown of cost. We'll have a full breakdown for complete elemental up to third level. Schedule of area, of course, again, very important. And another important factor is cost plan tracker. So, of course, in a concept design, you will not have a tracker, but when you move ahead with the cost plan in different design phases, you should have to show the cost tracking, whether it is go up or down, why it go up, why it go down. So that will help client and design team to refine or correct the design and over design part or under design part. This is very important factor. Another one is appendices. Of course, this response to query we include because some of design information might have override from response to query, value engineering schedules, quotation, related other communication. Sometimes client might have sent an email to us. Okay, I consider 200 guest room in the hotel, just make it 220. Similar standard type rooms at another 20. So that type of information, then in the basis and qualification, we explain it. So that is also another important part. Presentation niki මෙතර වෙලා කතා කරපු ටික මම පොඩ්ඩක් ආයේ රිකැප් කරන්නම් සිංහලෙන්. ඒ කියන්නේ cost plan procedure එක කියන එකෙන් අපි අදහස් කරන්නේ cost plan එක කරන්නේ කොහොමද කියන එක. design document ටික check කරලා සම්පූර්ණ එකට completeness එක තියෙනවද කියන එක check කරන එකයි. ඊළඟට මොනවා හරි මේ කියන්නේ අපි කියන්නේ discrepancy ambiguities කියන්නේ එක document එකක තියෙන information එක අනිත් document එකේ තියෙන information එක tally වෙන්නේ. හරි එක්ක අපි හිතන information එකක් එක document එකවත් නැහැ. අනේ වගේ අවස්ථාවලදී අපි කරන්නේ මොකද query to response කියන්නේ query කරලා අහනවා මේක කෝ කියලා. අනේ වගේ එකක් තමයි මේ procedure එක. ඊළඟට area measurement එක ඒකත් හරි වැදගත්. මම කිව්වා දැන් මොකද මේ අපි superficial area method කියන එක use කරන නිසා අපිට ඕන වෙනවා area එක full project එකේ. ඇත්තටම කියනවා නම් designer project එකට area schedule එකක් දෙනවා. අපි කවදාකවත් ඒ area schedule එක මත costing කරන්නේ නැහැ. අනිවාර්යෙන් cost planning cost consultant cost planning team එක individual independent area measurement එකක් කරනවා. ඒක මොකද එහෙම කරන්න හේතුව අපේ benchmark base වෙලා තියෙන්නේ අපේ ඒ පදනම. ඒ නිසා අපි එහෙම කරනවා. ඊට පස්සේ අර විදිහට elemental breakdown එකට අපි price කරගෙන යනවා. මම අර පෙන්නුව level වලට concept එකේදී කරන්නේ full benchmark use කරනවා. schematic එකේදී benchmark plus measurement use කරනවා. detail design එකේදී full measurement එක use කරනවා. එතකොට report එකට contain වෙන්නේ මෙන්න මේ වගේ information ටික. මේක කියන්නේ මේක hard and fast detail එකනේ කොහෙවත් define කරලා නැහැ මෙන්න මේ headings එන්න ඕනේ කියලා. නමුත් මෙන්න මේ headings ඔක්කොගම ඇතුලේ තියෙනවා client කෙනෙකුට important වෙන information ටික. Okay, now let's move to the next area. This is another point that we should discuss today in our CPD about compilation of bidding document. Basically, it depends on client to client, but most client will ask about 5 volumes. We call it volume 1 to 5. Usually volume 1 එක include වෙන්නේ එක include වෙනවා අපි දන්නවා ITT කියලා අපි කියන්නේ instruction to tenderers අපිට ඒක සාමාන්‍යයෙන් client දෙනවා ඊළඟට condition of contract තමයි volume 1 එකේ අනිත් part එක the second part is in the condition of contract it will be a standard or bespoke like in Dubai it's very rare to use standard it is actually mostly bespoke. Iman, Akil, Alda, kind of big developers will use bespoke contract. Of course, it's based on FIDIC 1999 version. This is another part in the volume 1. Volume 2 is form of tender and bill of quantities. Bill of quantities usually preparing by cost planning division. We use the POMI mostly for the building works. We ask to prepare based on POMI, infrastructure work based on the SESAM 4. In volume 3, usually we have it schedule of projects and appendices. The schedule of project will say what are the other requirements in a project, like HSC manuals, drawing list, signage, hoarding, formats, that includes in the schedule of project requirement in the volume 3. And volume 4, of course, drawings, not like earlier, the old client used to provide hard copies of drawings. If you can imagine how many drawings will come in this type, any mega type of a building, so it will be issued as a soft copies through a CD, PDF version, and volume 5 is specification, basically another important part. So that includes the project specification, general and technical. These are the major components which will be included in a bidding documents. මම පොඩක් ආයක සිංහලෙන් කිව්වොත් සාමාන්‍යයෙන් bidding document එකක් මෙහෙ prepare වෙනකොට volume 5කට විදිහට arrange කරන්නේ ඒකේ instructor tenders සහ condition of contract කියන part එක තමයි volume 1 එකට එන්නේ volume 2 එකේ bill of quantity එකයි form of tender එකයි එනවා volume 3 එකේ schedule of project requirement ඒ කියන්නේ මේකේ තියෙනවා මේ health HSC manuals drawing list specification registers ඒ වගේ information ටික format bonds වල formats ටික එතකොට volume 4 එකේ තියෙනවා complete drawings ඒ කියන්නේ ඒකේ අපිට දැන් ඉස්සර වගේ අර hard copy A1 A0 drawing දෙන්නේ නැහැ ඒක නෙමෙයි දැන් trend එක අපි කරන්නේ මේ කියන්නේ ගොඩක් client ලා soft copy එක තමයි CD version එකක් issue කරන්නේ ඊළඟට ස්පෙસિෆිකේෂන් එකත් එහෙමයි. එතකොට ඒක තමයි include වෙන්නේ bidding document එක in general, but in some clients sometimes ask include some information, but it will be ඒ කියන්නේ ඒක අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම within one of this volume. So this is all about today's topics in general. Thank you very much. Over to you, Nalin, to proceed with other formalities.
Thank you, Aranga. Thank you very much. And it was a brilliant session. I'm sure that sometimes I felt for a moment that is it too heavy to digest, but I think that that's the area which we have to focus. And apart from this content, I would like to, before moving into the questions, I would like to have a small word from you that how you have improved your career, like with looking back to your last 15 years or 20 years, and most of the times in Middle East. I'm sure that now you're a big shot, obviously, a cost planner or a commercial manager, but your career around 10, 15 years ago, and how you have groomed through this mill through in Middle East or in the Sri Lankan context, and then some other countries, even Maldives and Singapore, I know that you were involved in. What messages you can give you to this, especially for this younger generation? And there are even some senior people here. There are some state sector senior citizens. I'm sure that you know the current context. After 60 years, some people ought to be retired. So some people are looking for some opportunities in Middle Eastern and other countries. So what is your quick and brief message of how to groom your career and how to handle especially this cosmopolitan culture, maybe Indians, Pakistanis and the Nepali culture, then how you manage these people and how you groomed yourself?
Thank you very much, Nalin. Actually, a good question. As Nalin explained at the beginning, I was a mechanical engineer at the beginning, 22 years ago. And I worked in Sri Lanka Catering Airport project as a first mechanical engineer. But after that, I moved to Maldives for 1 year. And then, as you said, into Dubai. Even though I started as an engineer, I moved to the quantity surveying stream. I moved to the quantity surveying stream, and it is not a one minute change. I mean, it's not a you cannot change it quantity surveyor within the 1 minute, in simple wording. So you should have to have a eager to learn, study, and dedication. මම පොඩක් සිංහලෙන් පැහැදිලි කළොත් ඒ කියන්නේ මම ඇත්තටම පටන් ගත්තේ ඉංජිනේර් කෙනෙක් විදිහට. නමුත් අද වැඩ කරන්නේ පොස්ට් මැනේජර් සීනියර් ක්වොන්ටිටි සර්වේ කෙනෙක් විදිහට. ඒ කියන්නේ මම මේ මූවමන්ට් එක ගන්නේ කියන්නේ අපි කියන්නේ මේ අර කියුරියොසිටි එක තියෙන්න ඕනේ. තර්ස්ටි එක තියෙන්න ඕනේ. ඒක ස්ටඩි කරන්න ඕනේ. ඒක ඇත්තටම වෙනම ප්‍රොෆෙෂන් එකක්. කෙනෙකුට අහන්න පුළුවන් ඉංජිනේරින් කරලා කොහොමද ක්වොන්ටිටි සර්වේ කෙනෙක් වෙන්නේ කියලා. එතකොට දැන් මෙතන ඉන්න ප්‍රොෆෙෂනල්ස්ලා we know that we have engineers, architects, quantity surveyors. එතකොට ඒකට අවශ්‍යයි කියන්නේ අපි සිංහලෙන් කියන්නේ අර මේ උනන්දුවක් සහ ඒකට කියන්නේ මේ eager to learn සහ challenges බාර ගන්න පුළුවන් වෙන්න ඕනේ. ඒ කියන්නේ මම තව පොඩ්ඩක් මේකට ඇඩ් කරන්නම් තමන්ගේ knowledge එක diversify කරගන්න උත්සාහ කරනවා. දැන් අපි හිතනවා මම quantity surveying වල civil engineering part එක පැත්ත බලාගෙන ඉතියාම ඇති කියලා. එහෙම නෙමෙයි, diversify කරන්න ඕනේ. දැන් ඇත්තටම මම ඒකට කියන්නේ මේ study කලේ mechanical engineering වුණාට මම අද වෙනකොට electrical engineering field එක, infrastructure field එක, මොකද කොහොමදවත් අපිට මේ infrastructure සම්බන්ධව ඉගෙන ගන්න අවස්ථාවක් හම්බෙන්නේ නැහැ යුනිවර්සිටි එකේ. ඒ කියන්නේ සිස්ටම් වශයෙන් කොහොමද infrastructure වල roads පැත්ත එහෙම කරනවා වෙන්න පුළුවන්. දැන් නමුත් ME පැත්තේ utilities කියලා එහෙම අපි වෙනමම ඉගෙන ගන්නෙ නැහැ. ඒ නිසා හැම වෙලේම අර ඊග එක තියාගන්න ඕනේ. ඒ කියන්නේ උනන්දුව තියාගන්න. we have to maintain that. සහ ඊළඟ වැදගත්ම කාරණේ තමයි අපි මෙතන ඉන්න professionals දැනගන්න ඕනේ. In the correct time you should be qualified for all stages. මම මෙතනින් අදහස් කරන්නේ ඇත්තටම you should be work with the professional bodies like ISL, IQSSL, RICS, මේ වගේ professional bodies එක්ක ඔයාලා මේ වැඩ කරන්න ඕනේ සහ ඒ professional bodies වල membership you should take at correct time. Unfortunately, in my career also, I was not able to get it for some reason, but it's not an excuse. මම කියන්නේ නෑ අහවලාට නෑනේ මටත් නැති වුණාට කමන්නේ නෙමෙයි. අහවලාට නැති නෑ මම ගන්න ඕනේ කියන එක. මොකද ඒ වගේ professional bodies එක්ක වැඩ කරනකොට when you are working with that type of professional bodies, you will gather immense knowledge and a different type of knowledge. ඒ කියන්නේ සමහරලාට ඒ professional bodies වල තියෙන procedures will help lot to improve your career. ඒ කියන්නේ මම හැම වෙලාවෙම කියන්නේ මෙතන දැන් නලින් සඳහන් කරා වගේ press engineers ලා හැම වෙලාවෙම correct time එකේ දැන් උදාහරණයක් විදියට ඒ professional body එක කියලා තියෙනවා නම් 5 years මෙන්න මෙච්චර experience තියෙනකොට ඔයාලට chart එකට යන්න පුළුවන්. අන්න එතෙන්ට වැඩ කරන්න. නිකන් university එකෙන් out වෙනකොට නැත්තම් when you graduate you don't think yes I got magic button and I can do everything. ඇත්තම කියනවා නම් university course එක මේ කියන්නේ degrade කරනවා කියන එක නේ අපිත් university pass out වෙනකොට අපිත් එහෙම හිතාගෙන ආවා. දැන් හැමදේම කරන්න පුළුවන් කියලා. මම මේ previous session කීපය අහුවාමත් last session එකේ presenter කිව්ව දේ තමයි හැම වෙලාවෙම තමන්ගේ diversify එක තියාගන්න learning ability එක තියාගන්න professional bodies එක වැඩ කරන්න සහ මේ modern world එකත් එක්ක ඉන්න ඕනේ. දැන් මම අර කතා කරපු Costex වගේ එකක් කියනකොට දැන් previous session එකේ Primavera වගේ තියෙන එක දැන් මම කරන්නේ engineering මට නම් Primavera වැඩක් නෑ කියන එක නෙමෙයි. මම කරන්නේ QS මට නම් වැඩක් නෑ Primavera කියන එක නෙමෙයි. නමුත් ඒ වගේ තමන්ගේ you have to polish your knowledge and gather the knowledge. ඒ කියන්නේ දැන් මේකේ ultimate purpose එක මම දැක්කා මේ පැහැදිලි කරනවා දැන් CCB එකේ higher management එකෙන්. ඒ කියන්නේ qualify වෙන්න ඕනේ අපි මේ නිකම්ම මේ දුබායි ශ්‍රී ලංකාවෙන් visit visa එකක් ගහලා මෙතන බැස්ස ගමන් job එකක් දෙන්න ඉන්නවා කියන එක හිතාගෙන වැඩ කරන්න හොඳ නැහැ. ඒ නිසා අපි ඒකට qualify වෙන්න ඕනේ. අනිත් එක තමයි English fluency එක හදා ගන්න ඕනේ very important. මෙහි ඉන්න ගොඩක් කට්ටිය එහෙම ඉංග්‍රීසිම තියනවාද කියන එක නෙමෙයි වැඩි. අපිට ජොබ් එකක් ගන්න ඕනේ නිසා අපි ඒක ඉම්ප්‍රූව් කරගෙන එන්න එහෙම නෑ කියලා එන්න බෑ කියන එක නෙමෙයි මම අදහස් කරන්නේ. ඒවා extra added values. සහ දැන් අර නලින් සඳහන් කරා වගේ දැන් මේකේ UAE කියන්නේ 190 nationals ඉන්න රටක්. මේකේ world record එකක් තියෙනවා UAE වල one national anthem එකක් ගායනා කරපු ඒ කියන්නේ national anthem එකක් වැඩිම nationalistලා ගායනා කරපු national anthem එක තමයි UAE national anthem. ඒ කියන්නේ 190 nationals ඉන්නවා. එතකොට මේ අපි ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ අපිට ජොබ් එකක් දෙන්න ඕනේ කියන එක නෙමෙයි. නමුත් ඒ ඉන්දියන්ස් ලාගේ ස්පෙෂලි දැන් මේ ඔය ඉකොනොමික් ක්‍රයිසිස් එක අපේ වගේ රටවල් වලට දැනෙන්න කලින් ඒ රටවල් වල ඉකොනොමික් ක්‍රයිසිස් එක තියෙන වෙලාවේ හරි එයාලා දන්නවා ඒකේ තියෙන ඉෂුව එක. දැන් අපිට වීකෙන්ඩ් එකේ වැඩ කරන්න කිව්වට අපි කැමති නැහැ කිව්වට ඉන්දියන්ස්ලා ඉන්නවා දවස් 7 උදේ 8 රෑ 6 වෙනකම් වැඩ කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ කියන්නේ මේක ස්ටේබල් වෙනකම් දැන් මම නම් එහෙම වැඩ කරන්න ඕනේ නැහැ කියලා හිතනවා. දැන් අපි මේක ස්ටේබල් වෙනවා. නමුත් අපි මේකට එන්ටර් වෙනකොට අන්න ඒ වගේ කන්ටෙස්ට් එක වැඩ කරන්න බලාගෙන එන්නේ. එහෙම අපි කියන්නේ වැඩ කරන්න කියන්නේ එහෙම අපිට මේ අපි මේක ස්ටේබල් වෙනකම් අපි අර අපේ වචනේ කියනවා නම් කකුල් දෙක හරියට තියාගන්නකම් අපි ඒකට සූදානම් වෙලා ඉන්න ඕනේ. I hope Nalin I explain how we have to prepare for that.
Yes, thank you. And again, I could recall some Filipinos how they work hard, like, and they do whatever demanded by their boss, and I don't think that Sri Lankan can manage up to that level, but still keeping our dignity, we have to dedicate certain amount of works, and for sure. Thank you, Ranga, and organizers, I would like to please. There are some requests for the attendance sheet, but we will delay a little bit today for the attendance sheet, and we'll go for a Q&A session. And at the mid of Q&A session, we will share the attendance sheet. That is for information. And please, we will go ahead with the advertisement. And after 1 minute or 2 minutes time, then we will move into the Q&A session. Eranga, I think that you can bear with us at least 30 minutes more.
That's fine.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And Sanjay and organizers, please play the advertisement, and please don't share the attendance sheet. We'll share the attendance sheet by 9:15. Thank you.
Introducing Worth Hollow Wall Anchors. The hollow wall anchor is suited for setting attachments in plasterboards, perforated brick ceilings, hollow body ceilings, and other boards. Worth hollow wall anchors are available individually or in a convenient Aussie 100 carry case. To install the anchor, pre-drill the desired surface. Slightly loosen the screw to allow for enough space for it to be mounted with the hand mounting pliers. Simply insert the anchor into the pre-drilled hole and apply pressure to the mounting pliers to complete the process. Worth hollow wall anchors are a must-have for indoor mounting applications.
Nature is a masterpiece. Preserve its beauty while surrounding yourself in the transcendent aesthetics of your dreams. Embrace a world of elegance and sustainability with Swisstech Aluminium. Swisstech Aluminium. Live in elegance.
Thank you, organizers. And Iranga, I will start with the very basic questions which I had, and there were some requests and questions came through the WhatsApp group, and there are some chat box as well.
Okay, Nalin.
If I'm to start with this cost planning, and I had a little bit of a doubt whether where this cost planning comes into play, like, because we know for a pre-contracting stage, we have to submit a priced bill of quantity. Are we talking about the cost planning of before the pre-contracting work, or once you are awarded the contract? Are we talking about that kind of a cost planning, or is it for the life cycle cost planning you're talking about? When this cost planning starts?
Well, Nalin, actually, before the project come into the picture, I mean, I would say what I mean by come into picture means before it go for tender, and it is kind of a homework or pre-work that client and his design team is doing. So make sure his design is within the budgeted price, so within the price what he has in hand. So that is
yeah, okay. In my words, because in Sri Lankan context, we can simply say it is engineer's estimate. So if you're working for a certain client, and before making these tenders to be floated, so it is like a engineer's estimate.
Of course, you are right. That you use the correct. I supposed to tell that within the presentation. I missed it, but good that you remind. Yes.
Okay, so that is, you're working for a client, and so to allocate his budget and work, so you're doing a cost planning as a engineer's estimates.
That's correct.
Right. Thank you. And having seen these databases, I saw the names of JLL databases and some certain construction bulletins you showed about the databases and the rate backup. So what's the data as you've got it? So are those sort of standard documents, or there will be any standard bulletins issued by maybe Dubai Properties, so whatever the clients, are they standard documents?
That's correct, Nalin. It is not like I would say periodical. Let's say now JLL issue and every 6 months this type of bulletin. No, but it is whenever they. I mean, I'm not sure when they are deciding to issue such or do a such carry out such a research. I presume that some client might have asked or to secure some business in the KSA or in UAE, they used to issue this type of bulletins. So it is not like periodical, each 6 months there will be a bulletin for construction, but in here, especially in the MENA region, there are similar type of, especially in Dubai, government entities like DIVA, DM, they have similar type of bulletins. It is available. so we have to review or check in the internet. So like any trends, market research, something like that, of course, you will get to know that those things.
Okay, thank you, Erang. And now, again, about these initial estimates that you mentioned something about these initial state estimates. Maybe sometimes you make an approximate estimate in certain levels, like maybe flow areas or the other estimations, and how accurate they are, and at which stage they come into picture. මොන වෙලාවෙද ඔය දේවල් ටික කරන්නේ නැත්නම් අපි එක එක වෙලාවට කිව්ව දැන් අර එක එක ස්ටේජස් වලදී එස්ටිමේට් කරනවා වගේ කොයි අවස්ථාවලදී ඔක ගන්නෙ?
It is like this, Nalin. So in any project, once they launch, I would say commence the project, they will decide the design team. I would say architect, structural designer, MEP designer, and cost consultant. So they advise us their timeline and milestone, as I said. In that particular level, they ask us to prepare the cost for the design. ඒකේ මම අදහස් කරන්නේ දැන් schematic design එක කරාම අපි අර project timeline එකේ අපිට දෙනවා මෙදාට අපිට concept design cost plan එක ඕනේ කියලා. එතකොට දැන් සමහර වෙලාවට මම අර කිව්වා වගේ නලින් in some cases they will not take the cost update in all design phase. ඒ කියන්නේ pre-concept එකේ sometimes they ask us to prepare the cost plan in the pre-concept, and they consider that as a budget, and they might skip the concept, actually not the design, the cost plan. They will ask us to prepare the cost plan in the schematic design. Again, that is the client requirement. That is what the time or the design phase, he will decide when he want the that particular cost or like cost update as per the design.
Okay, thank you, and again I'll move into some questions received for our WhatsApp groups. Can you explain sophisticated softwares used in measurement and cost estimation? That's number one. And is BIM AutoCAD with advanced softwares used in measurements? I think you have answered for that, even that case.
Yes, Nalin.
The other one is, if measurements are calculated directly from softwares, what are the additional things to be considered? I think maybe he's referring to certain offsets or tolerances, and how you manage with if you have some figures from the software generated, and how you do it by yourself, that is the thumb rule or your practices, and what are the allocations, standard allocations given by, maybe approved by the consultant or the others, like if your contractor has some measurements measured and taken from the softwares, and is there tolerances, standard tolerances accepted by, especially measure and pay contracts are referring. So what about your start with the softwares first.
Regarding the softwares, actually, why I specified the Costex, since we are using it, it is not mandatory, or it has not been specified by client or anyone that you have to use the Costex. But what I mentioned, as I mentioned in the presentation, it has a very good reputation or demand in UAE especially. Costex එකම පාවිච්චි කරන්න කියලා නැහැ. ඒ කියන්නේ අපිට measurement වලට AutoCAD පාවිච්චි කරන්න එපා කියලා නැහැ. මම කිව්වේ මේක තියෙන liveness එක සහ මේක තියෙන accuracy එක සහ මේක මේ දැන් අතරම AutoCAD measurement එකක් කරන්න නම් AutoCAD drawing එක දෙන්න එපා. බොහෝ විට අපිට මේ දැන් අතරම දන්න විදිහට මේ දන්න විදිහට කියන්නේ සාමාන්‍ය ක්‍රමයේ tender එකටවත් AutoCAD drawing issue කරන්නේ නැහැ. tender එකට issue කරන්නේ PDF drawing. එතකොට print out අරගෙන manually measure කරලා තමයි ගන්න. එතකොට දැන් අත්‍තරම cost consultant විදියට අපිට හම්බ වෙන AutoCAD ඔක්කොම වගේ drawing වල. නමුත් අර ඒ නිසා මේ ඕනෑම version එකක් මනින්න පුළුවන් capacity එක තියෙනවා. මම මේ අනිත් software use කරලා නැහැ මේ measurement වලට cost planning එකේදී. ඒ නිසා මම Costex එක ගැන කියන්නේ. ඊළඟට මේ අර tolerances ගැන අහපු නිසා මේ ඒක ඇත්තටම කියනවා නම් දැන් උදාහරණයක් විදියට අපි හිතන්නකො offset තියෙනවා, නැත්නම් අපි හිතමු coordination කරනකොට MEP වල electrical ගත්තාම especially trace trunking ඇත්තටම drawing එකේ measure කරන එක නෙමෙයි actual project එකේ quantity එක වෙන්නේ. මොකද අපිට coordination වලට ඊළඟට offset වලට ඊළඟට මේ especially coordination වලදී MEP services අතරම වෙනම measurement add වෙනවා. ඊළඟට ගොඩක් වෙලාවට ගත්තාම දැන් මෙතන කට්ටිය දන්නවා ඇති දැන් electrical ගත්තාම SMDB එකයි DB එකයි ළඟ තිබ්බත් මේ horizontal cable එක connect කරන්නේ නැහැ. ඒක cable එක අනිවාර්යෙන් cable tray එකක් through උඩට අරගෙන ඊට පස්සේ vertical drop වෙලා කියන්නේ top out top exit top entry තමයි තියෙන්නේ. එතකොට ඒ වගේ අපි කියන්නේ අපිට මේ foreseen items කියන්නේ cable එක මෙහෙමයි යන්නේ කියන foreseen item අපි මනිනවා ඇත්තටම measurement එකේදී. නමුත් අර offset වගේ ඒවා ඊළඟට wastage වගේ ඒවා අපි rate එකෙන් තමයි include කරන්නේ. අපි දැන් benchmark එක use කරනකොට අපි when we are using the benchmark is already captured that offsets, but when we are using the rates ඒක rate එක අපි include ඒ කියන්නේ rate එකේ තියෙන මේ tolerances again extra over අපි add කරලා තියෙනවා. අතන measurement එක unforeseen measurement. ඒ කියන්නේ දැන් අපිට හිතා ගන්න බෑ design stage එකේදී මේකේ offset වෙන්නේ කොහොමද කියලා. මේකේ coordinate වෙන්නේ කොහොමද කියලා. ඒක අතන shop drawing level එකේදී අපිට හොයා ගන්න පුළුවන් වෙන්නේ. ඒ නිසා ඒව අපි අතරම rate එකකින් තමයි include කරන්නේ. අපි physical measurement එක සහ foreseen measurement අපිට foresee කරන්න පුළුවන් ඒවා අපි measure කරනවා software එක through.
Thank you, Rang. And I think this question also have a relationship with your answer. You can continue from there on. It's like it is in the chat box from Ishara Kure. What if found that our preliminary budget is going to exceed after we do the cost in the detailed design stage? And what are the limitations and how you manage? Like, is it part of the variations?
Very good question, Nalin. As I always explained during the presentation, in most cases, I would say always we are above the budget. So once we are proceeding with the different pace in the cost plan, of course we are above the budget. So that time, as I explained, I am telling again, we are the value engineering is coming to the picture, or we are discussing about the value engineering. And we value engineered, we identified all value engineering options, and we again another level we refined the cost plan with the accepted value engineering. In some cases, still the project is above the budget. In that scenario, then the de-scoping is coming. So one example in KSA project, we were above the budget, if I'm not wrong, around 8%. We did all value engineering practices or value engineering, value engineering tasks, but still we are above the budget, and they come up with the new idea to, I think you have heard about build, operate, own, and transfer contract. I'm sorry. One particular specific system, they make it as a boot or like, sorry, build, operate, and transfer. ඒ වගේ අපි value engineering කරලා sorry de-scoping කරලා බැරි වුණාම client එයාගේ budget එක adjust කරනවා. Sorry.
I think you can take a little bit of a time, I think, and meantime I would like to ask our organizers to share the attendance sheet, because there were a lot of requests from the audience about the attendance sheet, and we will now share the attendance sheet in chat box and in our YouTube channel as well. So it is now almost 9:15, so it will be available until 9:30. So you can mark your attendance while you are placing your questions. Sanjay, can we share the attendance sheet, please?
Yeah, we have already shared.
All right, okay, thank you very much. And now there were a lot of impatient audience participants who were looking for the attendance sheet, and we have the attendance sheet now. You can mark your attendance. There are some questions, Ranga, that is about these bulletins and the construction bulletins. These bulletins are future forecasts or will be used in price escalation calculations after occurrence. I think those data, the validations of the validity of the data, are they past data or the forecasted data?
No, there are past data as well, Nalin. of course, in both, like we are analyzing the past and there are forecast of cost. So we pick up the forecast actually. So that is important for us to incorporate into the future cost plans actually.
Okay, thank you. And I'm doubtful whether Rang is in the position to answer this question. Please describe difference of the cost text, your software you mentioned about, versus PlanSwift or PlanSwift software. You heard about this PlanSwift software?
I'm not sure, Nalin. I have not aware about that. Maybe that's what I said. Then there are many others. Like
Difference.
there was another one called Dimex. Now it's obsoleted, and there's another one called Bluebeam, and even AutoCAD. I'm sorry, I am not aware about that software.
No problem. And
you might check cost text, and if you have worked with that particular software, you may understand the difference. So that's why I'm sorry. Actually, I did not aware about that.
Thank you. And the other one, is it a good practice to have contingency cost for certain main works rather than client's request?
Again, Nalin?
Is it good practice to have contingency cost for certain main works rather than client's request? That question is not clear.
I think I will answer, Nalin, as I understood what might be he or she is asking, like for the main work, like let's say structural or maybe architectural, do he need to keep contingency for that areas rather, like in the presentation I told them that client has something in his mind to add in future. So as far as I know, whenever the areas in the design stage, he usually not keep any contingency as a client contingency. It is kept as a design contingency for design consultant. Usually client keep contingency for like system, like for example, in one mall in UAE, the original design, there was no roller coaster, and later roller coaster came. So that type of thing might cover in that type of contingency.
Okay, and there are some requests for your WhatsApp number as well. I'm sure that the presentation has
it contains, Nalin. I will share the presentation with you, and while you are distribution with them, of course they will get my WhatsApp number, email also there.
All right.
Just WhatsApp me, and if I'm not able to answer, I will not able to answer in the same time, but of course I will respond to you, of course.
Thank you, and so generous of yours, and thank you very much, Ranga. And Sanjay, can we allow some participants to raise their questions by their own voices? Like you can have these options.
Mr. Nalin, we don't have any hand raise currently.
Okay, maybe that they might have thought that they will not be able to. If you have any questions directly asked from Mr. Ranga, we have another 10 minutes more, and you can raise your hands and you can ask any questions. Please raise your hand and ask questions if you have. And there are a lot of thanking notes, Ranga, from in the chat box.
It's my pleasure, Nalin. Thank you so much for attending and be the audience. Great pleasure to address this type of professionals. Frankly speaking, I'm not a person like doing this type of presentation. My beloved batchmate Nalin make me to do this, but I am really happy that I was able to do this, and thank you very much for all of you.
Yeah. Thanks, because knowing the fact that you are a pool of resources, so you have that wealth of knowledge, so I wanted to extract it for the benefits of Sri Lankan professionals. So that was I think a fair attempt ultimately.
That's correct, Nalin. And even though I worked in many years, like I did not gather that information in this type of presentation. Thanks for that. Also, it's beneficial to me, also not to you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, audience.
Thank you, Ranga. And okay, then if you don't have any hand raise, I would like to again request Ranga to make a final remark if you have in Sinhalese or in English. We highly appreciate if you can share some thoughts for maybe the future generations and this current situation and how we tackle these situations and professional challenges, and especially the life in Dubai. So if you can share 2-3 minutes And finally, you can, with your final remarks, you can conclude the session.
Thank you so much, Nalin. I will speak in Sinhala. මම හිතන්නේ ඔක්කොටම තේරුම් ගන්න පුළුවන් වෙයි. මම ඉස්සලා චුට්ටක් කතා කරා වගේ අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම ඩයිවර්සිෆයි කරගන්න ඔයාලගේ නොලෙජ් එක ලිමිට් වෙන්න එපා. මම මේ ටික දැනගත්තාම ඇති කියන එක. අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම ඉන්ටර්නැෂනල් ඉන්ඩස්ට්‍රි එකට එක්ස්පෝස් වෙන්න. ඒ කියන්නේ කන්ස්ට්‍රක්ෂන් වල පැත්තේ නොලෙජ් එක පොලිෂ් කරගන්න තියෙන හොඳ පැත්තක් තමයි මීනා අර ගිය ප්‍රසන්ටර් ඉංජිනේර් මිනෝජ් කිව්වා වගේ වැඩිම කන්ස්ට්‍රක්ෂන් බූම් එකක් තියෙන ඒරියා එක ග්ලෝබලි. ඒ කියන්නේ ගොඩක් ඒ කියන්නේ රෙපියුටඩ් ආකිටෙක්ට්ලා කන්සල්ටන්ට්ලා ඉන්න තැනක් ඩුබායි කියන්නේ සෝරි මීනා කියන්නේ ඩුබායි විතරක් නෙවෙයි මම අදහස් කරන්නේ. ඉතින් ඒ එක්ස්පෝස් එකට එන්න ඕනේ. ඒ එක්ස්පෝස් එකට ඇවිල්ලා ඒ නොලෙජ් එක අරන් ලංකාවට යන්න ඕනේ. ඒ කියන්නේ අපි ප්‍රොජෙක්ට් ඒ කියන්නේ දැන් හොඳම උදාහරණය තමයි ඩුබායි මෙට්‍රෝ කියන ප්‍රොජෙක්ට් එක 2009 වලට ඕපන් කරන්න ප්ලෑන් කරපු ප්‍රොජෙක්ට් එකක්. ඇත්තටම ඒක උදේ කියන්නේ මෝර්නින් 9 ඕපන් කරන්න තිබ්බා කියලා තමයි මම අහලා තිබ්බේ. නමුත් ඒ කාලේ රම්සාන් තිබ්බ හින්දා හරියටම 2009 වලට ඕපන් කරා. ඉතින් ඒ කියන්නේ ඒ වගේ ටාගට් වලට වැඩ කරන්න ඕනේ. ඒ වගේ එන්කරේජ් කියන්නේ ඒ වගේ ටීම් එක වැඩ කරන්න අපි පුරුදු වෙන්න ඕනේ. ඒ කැපබිලිටි එකට අපිට අපේ බ්ලඩ් වල තියෙනවා. it is within us. ඒ කියන්නේ දැන් ඒ කියන්නේ අපිට ඕනේ එකට අපි එක්ස්පෝස් එක හදාගෙන ඒක හොයාගෙන යන්න ඕනේ. ඒ නිසා මේ ඒ කියන්නේ අපි යුනික් පොඩි රටක් ඒ කියන්නේ පොඩි ජනතාවක් වුණාට අපි තාමත් මේ බ්ලඩ් වල එක තියෙනවා. ස්පෙෂලි මේ ප්‍රොෆෙෂනල්ස්ලා ඒකට එක්ස්පෝස් වෙන්න අනිවාර්යෙන්ම චැලෙන්ජස් බාර ගන්න මට බෑ නෙමෙයි අපිට පුළුවන්. ඒ කියන්නේ අපි කවුරුත් humans නමුත් අපි ගාව අර අපි හිතේ තියෙන අපේ හයිය තියෙනවා. ඕන වෙලාවක අපි උදව් කරන්න ලැහැස්ති. From our level of course for any help you ask anytime. ඉතින් මේ වෙලාවේ අපේ ලංකාවට ප්‍රොෆෙෂනල්ස් විදියට උදව් කරන්න පුළුවන් හොඳ අවස්ථාවක්. ඉතින් ඒ නිසා මේ තමන්ගේ ඒරියාස් දැන් මේ අතරම CPD session 8 ඉවර වෙනකොට ඒ කියන්නේ අමුතුම විදිහේ එක්ස්පීරියන්ස් එකක් ඔයාලට අනිවාර්යෙන් ලැබෙන්න ඕනේ. මම UAE දැන් roughly about 12 years විතර ඒකෙන් මම ගත්ත පුදුම knowledge එකක්. මම මෙහෙ ඉඳලා. ඉතින් ඒ නිසා මේ ඒ කියන්නේ ඔයාලටත් ඒක මේ thank you so much for CCB and CSL මේ opportunity එක හදලා දුන්නට. ඉතින් ඒ නිසා මේ තමන්ගේ ජීවිතය කියන්නේ මේක තමන් විතරක් ගොඩ යනවා කියන එක නෙමෙයි. ඒක win to win situation එකක්. අපි කියන්නේ ඔයත් win කරනවා personally, රටත් win කරනවා personally. ඒ නිසා මේ අපි මේ challenge එක බාර අරන් මේ වෙලාවේ අපි රට වෙනුවෙන් ඉදිරියට වෙමු. අපිට කරන්න පුළුවන්, ඔයාලට කරන්න පුළුවන්. නිකම්ම හිතාගෙන මම විසිට් වීසා එකක් ගහලා හෙට ජොබ් එකක් හොයාගන්නවා කියන නෙමෙයි. දැන් මේ කතා කරන ඒරියා දැන් ඉංජිනේර චතුරංග කතා කරා වගේ ප්ලෑනින් පැත්ත දැන් අර මම දැක්ක එක ක්වෙස්චන් එකක් අහනවා මේ ඉංජිනේර්ස්ලා කිව්වෙස්ලා වෙනවා විතරයි ප්ලෑනින් වෙන්නේ නැද්ද කියලා. ඉතින් එහෙම ලිමිට් එකක් නෑ. හැබැයි ලිමිට් එකක් නෑ වගේම තමයි අර ප්‍රොෆෙෂනල් බොඩි එකක ක්වොලිෆිකේෂන් එකක් හදාගන්න. මොකද මට වැඩ කරන්න පුළුවන් කියලා කම්පැනි එකක් ඉස්සරහා කියලා කිව්වට බෑ. අපි ගාව එකට අවශ්‍ය පේපර්ස් තියෙන්න ඕනේ. පේපර් එක නෙමෙයි වැඩේ කරන්නේ. හැබැයි එන්න වෙන්න පේපර් එක ඕනේ. නිකන් මට අරක පුළුවන් මේක පුළුවන් කියලා බෑ. ඉතින් අර මම හැමදාම කියන්නේ we should have the paper in hand, we should have the brain to work. ඒ නිසා ඒක හදාගන්න ඉදිරිය නරක නෑ, උදව් කරන්න ඉන්නවා. දැන් ඇත්තටම මේ ගත්ත ස්ටෙප් එක ඉතාම හොඳයි, ඉතාම සතුටුයි. මේක වෙනම විදිහේ යුනික් වැඩක්. ග්ලෝබලි ප්‍රොෆෙෂනල්ස්ත් එකතු වෙන අතරව මේ ශ්‍රී ලංකන් කට්ටියට හම්බෙච්ච හොඳ අවස්ථාවක්. ඉතින් අපි වැඩේ කරමු. Thank you very much. It's great pleasure to speak to such type of professionals. Thank you very much, Engineer Nalin and CCB and CSL team. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Arang. And it was a nice session, and 2.5 hours, almost more than 2 hours we spent together, and that was one of a brilliant experience I'm sure that many of us had. And still we have more than 400, 450 participants. And finally, I would like to thank you on behalf of CCP and the whole Sri Lankan professionals crowd. Eranga, thank you very much and have a bright future. And I would like to wish you to strengthen yourself to serve more and more to the country as well as in global context as well. Thank you very much. And ladies and gentlemen, we finished our 5th session as well today, fruitfully and successfully. And special thanks to the people behind the screen. You might see us, but there are a lot of teamwork behind the screen, including the top management of CECP and CESL, and especially the training unit headed by Engineer Chandana and Sarasi. And there are a few more names as well, the CEO of CESL, Mr. Alvis, and Ishani Dilum, and special thanks to our Zoom masters, and especially the engineer Sanjay, who is supporting and coordinating everybody. Let's learn together, let's work together, because there are challenges, and now it is so hard. Sometimes you feel it for the best of nowadays, because the economical and socially, and there are a lot of crises around, but I'm sure that these crises make you stronger. And there's a famous saying that the plain tides or the normal sea that never makes some skillful sailors. Always this turbulence make you some skilled sailors. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, with that remark, let's work hard, work together, and share our knowledge. At the same time, we'll try to grab the knowledge all around the world. And that's why we have conducted these sessions, having this resource personnel. They are real resource personnel, and we'll try to grab most of them. And please watch your YouTube channel and have the knowledge, because I think after this 5th session, and if you watch back the 1st session, now you can get more idea. So those library, or we can say the archived resources, you can have it at any time you need. And what we need is not just a certificate of completing these courses, but to have this knowledge and the wisdom. With that remark, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for being a nice audience, as you always. And on behalf of CECP, I would simply say thank you very much. And let's meet next Sunday evening by 7:30. And until then, have a pleasant evening. Good night. Thank you. Thank you, Ranga.